I realized after much self-reflection, I love the idea of being patient, this nurturing and compassionate person. But when it comes to actually providing a high or even just a general standard of care and having to show up. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Najah Marie, back with another video. And today and here on my channel, we delve into the mind, where ambition, art, and identity collide. So grab your tea. I have water today because I had tea this morning, so this is me rehydrating. But anyway, grab your tea, really, and your trauma, and let's go. Also, I just want to say thank you so much to all of my new subscribers and everybody who's been commenting on my last video. I didn't think that it was going to actually blow up the way that it did, so I really appreciate all of you for taking the time to actually watch and comment and share your perspectives. I really enjoyed reading through all of the comments and just seeing the discourse in the comment section below. So yeah, I'm just really thankful and grateful and appreciative of all of you. So without further ado, let's continue. Okay, so this might sound random, but I've been thinking a lot about senior dogs. Just I know, a little weird, but bear with me, okay? And I've been thinking about them not in a gray muzzle, old soul, wholesome kind of way, although that part is true and it does exist, right? Lately, I've been seeing a few TikToks what it's actually like to take care of an older dog, and let's just say they weren't cute or aesthetically pleasing at all. Take sundowning, for instance. Sundowning, which I didn't even know existed in dogs, but apparently it does. It's similar to dementia in humans, which includes confusion, anxiety, barking for no clear reason, not sleeping. And then there are the belly bands, which I also didn't know existed for dogs, but apparently that's also a thing too. The accidents and just the constant monitoring. And I thought to myself, oh, this is the part we don't romanticize. And that's because we do aestheticize senior dogs. The gray face, the slow walks, or the idea of loyalty, gentleness, and unconditional love. We make the image of care look pretty, but not the reality of it. And that disconnect really stuck with me this time around. And what really struck me was the genuine discomfort I felt, because the way that people talk about senior dogs, older dogs, especially when their care becomes less easy, where it becomes complicated. It's very similar to the way we talk about ourselves or the elderly in general. And fun fact, I actually took a psychology class on this, so that's another reason why this topic struck me so hard. I'm not saying this to be judgmental at all. That's not my intention, because clearly I'm including myself in this conversation, so it's not like I'm not. I realized after much self-reflection that I love the idea of being patient and this nurturing and compassionate person. But when it comes to actually providing a high or even just a general standard of care and having to show up in that way every single day, that also includes care that's repetitive, it's not pretty, it's unglamorous, it's emotionally draining, and it's invisible. Having to provide care in that way, that's a completely different question by itself. There's something about care that doesn't give you anything back. There's no trophy, there's no ribbon, there's no accolades, it doesn't reward you. And that really messes with your identity, because suddenly it's not about being a good person. It's more about how long can I last, or it's about how long can I keep going like this. And there's no applause for that. I think we like caregiving when it confirms who we already believe ourselves to be as loving, gentle, selfless people. Real care asks who you are when you're tired, you're frustrated. There's nothing about providing that care that's glamorous or beautiful. And also, real care asks a lot of you when no one's watching. So to go back to TikTok and social media, like, you're only gonna see the palatable parts, the easily digestible parts. You're going to see the before and the after. You're going to see those quiet moments that look beautiful. You're going to see the, oh, that was worth it kind of ending. You're not going to record the grief of someone that you really care about changing and evolving or regressing, and you have no control over that. And because we don't see that, or maybe we do, even after those posts are uploaded to social media and TikTok, and just people feel like they're failing when being a caregiver gets hard. You even see this in movies. There's this split, like in the movie Stronger. It starts off in this space where there's survival, resilience, people clamoring around you, cheering Jeff on as he's navigating this new reality. But then it shifts to what happens after. There's the part where Jeff and his girlfriend at the time, who I can't seem to remember her name, but I'll include her name in somewhere on here. There's the part where Jeff and everyone around him have to actually live with the consequences or the effects of that incident, and where care becomes this daily, repetitive, straining occurrence they just don't really want to have to deal with, come to terms with, accept. It's more reflective, it's quieter, and it's even more uncomfortable. Like, nobody likes to sit with those feelings. No one really wanted to have to face that reality, but then it's there. So what other choice do you have but to keep going? And then there's The Father. That film, it doesn't even try to soften the blow for you at all. It just drops you into confusion, memory loss, the instability of Anthony Hopkins' character not even knowing exactly what's real, what's not real. And during the film, you feel what that's like. And it's not just experiencing being around someone who's experiencing that kind of mental decline. It's a lot to manage, a lot to handle, and just a lot to take in. Having to respond to that over and over and over again, and not feel exhausted by it, which I don't think is generally healthy or sustainable. And needless to say, I think about that sometimes too, because if my mom were still here, I would have had to become a caregiver to her, because she would have eventually been diagnosed with dementia or maybe even Alzheimer's later. And just the thought of my having to not only care for her, but of course having to hire like full-time care for her, that just would have been extremely taxing. So in a way, and I feel really bad for saying this, but at the same time, I feel like I lucked out because I didn't have to experience that. That's where I see the parallel with senior dogs and senior humans. We don't withdraw care because we don't love them. We withdraw it because being a caregiver causes us to have to confront time, decline, loss of control, and versions of life that don't mesh with productivity and progress and growth. Care essentially interrupts ambition, and we don't really have a cultural script for that. I also think it's easier for us to care for animals because it feels easier at first. Because animals, they don't argue, they don't remind us of our future in the same way. But once animals require the same level of sustained attention and emotional labor as humans do, then the romance cracks. And that's where the not so pretty truth lives underneath all of that. So maybe the question is, or rather, maybe the question isn't whether we love senior dogs more than we love senior people. Maybe it's whether we're prepared for providing care that isn't aesthetic, that requires hard work, and that requires us having to face the ugly parts of ourselves that we don't want to face. Are we prepared to face care that doesn't make us feel soft and warm and cuddly and or noble or special? Are we prepared to face and provide care that just is? And yeah, that's been sitting on my brain lately. If you're someone who is caring for an aging pet, an aging person, whether it's a family member or whomever, or honestly you're caring for yourself and it feels a lot heavier than you expected, you're not doing it wrong. I think it means you're seeing the parts that no one posts, that no one really talks about. And yeah, that seriously also was a lot. Maybe I need to incorporate some kind of a palate cleanser or something, because that was just a lot. So I just want to thank you all for sticking with me during this deep discussion. And if you've been liking my content so far, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe below. And also hit your post notifications for when I post every other Sunday. And for what it's worth, take time to take care of yourself because you deserve it, especially if you're providing care, because burnout is a real thing and resentment is a real thing. And those are just that you really need to take care of at the end of the day. And I will see you guys in the next one. Toodles.